I press start streaming. See if we are live.
Are we live now?
I pressed live. I'm hoping it's just loading.
Just in case we're live, we should start, talking about something like cricket commentators. We should start talking about all the cakes our fans are sending us.
We're live. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this very special stream of the British University Chess Association Championship. I'm here. My name's Tom. I'm here with Amanda, and we're going to bring you some commentary. Amanda, should we jump straight into the games?
Yeah, let's go for it. There were some exciting games earlier. I hope we're going to get more of the same.
Yeah. Let's hope so. So just looking at first boards, on this first match, we've got UCL against Oxford. Looking off the top of your head, have you got any predictions what the score will be, full boards, across this match?
Wow. Well, I'm here for UCL, so you can't ask me that. You're not going to get an unbiased answer.
4-0 UCL. I'm going to go for 2.5, 1.5, I think, to Oxford, just to balance it out. We've got only a couple of moves coming through. D4 on the first move, and he's gone knight c6, which is very interesting. Amanda, do you have any experience with this one? I always thought it was a little bit dodgy. You can push d5 in the center, and white gets a bit of initiative, but I guess you're trying to provoke a bit as black. And yeah, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I just want to push that pawn with every fiber of my being.
Yes.
I guess black is very prepared for that. White didn't go for it.
Yeah,
okay.
White went knight f3, which I've got to be honest, I've done as well, and then d6. So black is really trying to mix things up and going in for this kind of weird perk defense, but also with the knight on c6, which looks really, really strange to me. There's going to be, I guess, a bishop coming to e3 from white, and then a queen to d2. I've always thought this is pretty attractive from the white side, but yeah, should we move on? Come back to this one, see how it develops.
Definitely, yeah.
Let's do it here. Ooh, we've got a semi-Slav. If we take it from the top, I can see 1,300 games here. So this is a very standard version of the semi-Slav. White plays e3, which is called the Moran variation. And then we get this kind of classical queen c2 setup, and all looks like fairly standard theory so far. I think here you've got a choice between bishop b3, bishop e2. I think bishop e2 is a little bit softer as of the two choices. But I mean, still a very rich position. I guess black is looking either to break in the center with e5 or maybe with c5, if I put those two on the board. And probably, I think in my experience, these positions are pretty close to equality. White is looking at e4 and maybe bishop e3 and kind of trying to build some initiative with that 4-3 majority on the king side. If I put a little bit of that on the board, let's say white goes e4 and then e5, and we get some position like this maybe, where white is saying that you're a little bit behind with this bishop, and maybe with these pawns, I'm going to be able to move this knight, and then maybe I can get f4 and e5 in the center, and that's going to generate a bit of initiative. So that's kind of where white's play is going to come from. But yeah, what do you think? Who do you think has the better chances in this one? Have you played any semi-Slav before?
No, it's not my opening at all. And it does look a bit drawish. Apart from the continuation you showed, I'd rather have white. Yeah. But then does black really need to go in for that? If I'm a black, I might not be signing up for that.
There's a risk if you go, you can maybe let white sort of go a3, b4 and get a bit of a clamp. But yeah, I'm definitely with you on this one. I think white probably for choice at the moment. He is going, if you look at the clock times, he's burning through quite a lot of clock already, and Ewan Fuel, who's playing for Nottingham, seems to be kind of fairly well prepared. So yeah, I'd probably, given the sort of state with the clock as well, I'd probably rate black's chances in this one. But yeah, let's see what's happening on this board. Is this some sort of a Sicilian? This isn't really my territory. I'm a d4 knight f3 person, I have to warn you. So let's see what's going on. Got some sort of a Maroczy structure. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Both sides have castled. And do we prefer white here? We think white's doing okay?
White's more developed.
Yeah, that's got to be a positive, right? I wonder,
Yeah.
as black, she's just played the move knight bd7, and I wonder whether there's a plan with queen c7, knight e5 maybe coming into the position and sort of trying to get some counterplay that way. So I'm going to cheat, actually. How do we feel about turning on the engine on this stream? Are you...
We're not Chris Ward and Danny King. I think we're allowed.
Yeah, definitely concur with that. Let's have a look briefly. Okay, a bit less than I thought, actually. Maybe what would be, apart from, because knight b3 looks a little bit passive to me, what would be your kind of instinctive first move as white in this position? Because I'd like to do something a bit more aggressive. It feels like I've got some initiative here, but what do you think?
Maybe bishop g5.
Bishop g5 looks good. Yeah, I wonder what it thinks. I'm going to guess the computer wants to play h6 here.
It's a terrible error.
Yeah, should we? Hang on. Yeah, and then, that's very interesting. It wants to take on f6. I'd be, wow.
Oh.
It really thinks black's got some initiative. Really interesting.
Like that at all.
Yeah.
I would have said that was very double-edged, but then I'm not a computer. I wouldn't be rushing to move that pawn forward as black personally, but then the computer doesn't have to worry, does it? Because it's always just going to make the best move. It doesn't have to play based on generalities.
This is the advantage of not being a human, I guess. But yeah, really interesting variation here. Black can play g5, apparently, according to the stock which we've got running. And then after bishop g3, suddenly this pawn becomes really weak all of a sudden. And black can play knight c5. And then after you move, it sort of looks like I've got enough defenders here with the queen and the knight, but actually I can eliminate this knight. And then after takes, still thinks white has a bit of compensation because of this extension in front of the king. But black's a pawn up and looking pretty good here. So maybe black's chances are a bit better than we thought at the beginning after this move knight bd7.
Can we take with the pawn and mess up and have doubled c pawns and say we're going to have the b file and stop the
yeah, very possibly. Let's
stop that bishop from developing ever.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. So you're thinking, okay, I'm probably going to take with the knight, I guess. And what's your move here for white?
Rook a to b1.
Rook a b1. Okay. I'm wondering. I mean,
it's not worth a pawn.
Maybe I'm wondering if I can play f5 in this position as black. We're getting quite far away from the original position for those watching.
Very.
I wonder if this move is going to be on the table. I mean, my king is looking really weak, and maybe you've got enough counterplay with f4, but I'd be scared here as white. I'd be thinking, that bishop on g3 really doesn't look like any great shakes.
No. Or pawn to f3 instead.
Pawn to f3 I like a lot. Maybe are you allowing f4 in this position? Possibly. And then takes. I mean, that becomes a mess, doesn't it? But,
no, that was my blunder.
Yeah, so maybe, I mean, you can take on this knight.
I'm so keen to do something aggressive, but no, that's not anything. That's a big old mess.
Yeah. And here, well, actually, white's we're getting something really similar because after this move, white played bishop e3, which kind of is similar, I guess, to your plan. And then after knight c5 takes, we're going to get a really similar structure. And this e4 pawn, I guess, can be taken with black. But do you think in this version, white has any compensation? You don't have this h6 g5, which I really liked with that variation from bishop g5. So, yeah.
I'd rather have black here.
Yeah, no, me too. I think black's got the upper hand of this. So,
swap everything and say those double pawns are bad, and off you go.
Yeah. I know I have a terrible habit, and the computer keeps picking me up of just trying to grab a pawn and hold on to it, and thinking, if all of the pieces, the queens, the rooks go, I'm just going to get a king and pawn endgame, and you can't stop me. There's nothing in between. So, yeah, the engine for the moment, I think white is okay. I wonder.
Yeah. I think you just described Magnus Carlsen's whole career, only with a third of a pawn advantage.
Yeah, Well, if we're not Danny King and Chris Ward, we're definitely not Magnus Carlsen. I can say that very confidently. But yeah, so black looking really good here out of this Maroczy Sicilian position. If we head, this is interesting. Slightly giving the game away with the turn the engine off, but yeah, the engine's suggesting Queen B4, which I've got to admit wouldn't come to me first off.
That looks horrible to me. I'm like, they're pushing that pawn. I'm getting attacked by the bishop. If I take the B pawn, I'm getting attacked by all the rooks. I'm losing it again. It's horrible.
That looks very strange. I guess after D5, it's thinking that I can play E takes D5, and I'm just about hanging on with some sort of combination there. But yeah, very strange.
Yeah. Oh, I think you'd need the nerves of a computer to play that.
You do. Yeah. Should we have a look at let's have a look at Warwick and see what's going on the second board. I can't believe I'm seeing candidate masters down on the lower boards for some of these teams and getting very, very scared. This is a properly strong tournament that we're looking at. But yeah, okay, this position, I wonder, this looks like it came from a Caro-Kann with B3, which I've got to admit I haven't seen that before. White sacrificing a pawn, very, very interesting idea, I guess. And black, this looks really different. But so yeah, what do you make of this? Black's castle queenside and also push this H pawn down the board. Do you think black has some initiative here, or do these just kind of look a bit disconnected? I've got to say I'm not entirely convinced by black's position, but yeah, what do you think?
I'm not a fan either. And they've got to do something about that knight fork straight away, haven't they? So yeah, but at the same time, I don't think it looks terrible, but also where's that dark squared bishop of black's going with the Caro-Kann bishop, slicing down the board there?
I actually really like black's last move. If we go back, then this kind of tension with these bishops looked really problematic. So he's exchanged these with tempo and then potentially can bring the knight to f6. And I'm feeling a little less skeptical. That means that this is going to be defended. We're going to block the bishop on the diagonal, and then I can move this bishop on f8. So probably not an advantage to black, but that's starting to look a lot more promising, isn't it?
Definitely. I'm still worried about that poor lonely little H pawn. But
that's really interesting. Do you think that is a strength or could it be a weakness? Is there a potential for black to kind of cramp white on the queen side?
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like a little target to me, but then maybe you're right. Maybe black's gonna, maybe two moves forward, black's gonna do something fantastic with that, but its friend can't join it very easily. I don't know.
I'm wondering if there's a sort of plan with bishop d6 and trying to kind of target this h pawn over here, and kind of if you go h3, then maybe you can claim that's a weakness. Again, I'm not totally convinced, but it gives black some. You're not just defending as black; you've got some ideas and some initiative, and I guess as well it's for white to prove that this knight on g5, this kind of sally that he's gone for is a good idea, and is kind of that there's some initiative that flows from that. But I've got to say in the last few moves I'm kind of coming around to black's position a little bit here.
Yeah, no, I get it. What's been surprising to me, looking at the games earlier in the day, is just how adventurous everybody's being. I'm not seeing very much standard, passive, classical chess at all. Everybody's gung-ho and going for it.
That is exactly what we want to see. We don't want to see any Berlins or Petrovs on this stream. Absolutely not. If you do play the Berlin and Petrov and you're watching, you're a player, then we're not going to look at your game. We're just going to skip. So if you want to be on the internet, then please Sicilians and Grunfelds only. And we'll allow some Queen's Gambit as well. Yeah. Queen's Gambit's okay.
I'm thinking we might get a King's Gambit at the rate things have been going.
Thinking we might get a King's Gambit. I would love to see that, but yeah, that is very, very adventurous. I think maybe in the Blitz, if we stay for the Blitz, then there are good chances there. But I'm tempted to sort of flick down Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah. I'm tempted to flip down to one of these games. I've actually played both of these plays before quite a long time ago. Yeah, just kind of interested. And we get this move e3 from white, which is, yeah, interesting start, just trying to kind of mix things up from the start and wrong foot his opponent, I guess. But yeah, and then c5, interesting. And white grabs this pawn and tries to hold on to it. Have you played anything like this before? Do you think it's a good idea?
I have. Every time I've tried to hold on to this pawn, I've gotten beaten to a bloody pulp.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It is risky. I've played this before, and actually I quite like it from the white side or something similar, because it does kind of put some onus on black from the start to find something concrete. And often, especially, I mean, these guys have got 15 minutes. It's not so easy to come up with ideas. So, yeah, I'd be feeling pretty comfortable here, actually, as white. And as in this position, black ends up just saying, okay, you can have the pawn. That's all right. And then takes another one. So white is 2 pawns up in this position. But is there some compensation? I'm looking at this bishop kind of scoring down the diagonal, and maybe a knight coming into e4. Do you think black could have enough here, or do you just think white's 2 pawns up and is going to consolidate?
Yeah, I think if white can consolidate, they're laughing. And I don't see any immediate threats that would stop white from just, unless I'm missing something. If I were white, I would just be like, yeah, let's swap everything and have 2 more pawns.
Definitely looking to swap things off. I really like this last move from black, though, using the fact that we've got this weird geometry with these 2 knights. And so I'd sort of presume that white would be moving this knight into e4, or black, sorry, would be moving this one. But with moving the f knight, it's really clever because you get a knight onto e4, you keep this one here, and you've opened up this bishop. And white's relying on the fact that after takes here, you've got queen takes, and now white's still 2 pawns up, but this is weak, and there's potential for me to get some counterplay. So after
that 2 pawns are gone. Yeah,
that has got to be gone. So I'm wondering in this position about rook c1 and whether there's a kind of immediate refutation there. What do you think? Can you see a move here for black?
No, I'm dying to take that c pawn with the knight, but I don't think it works.
Yeah.
And they're already 2 pawns down. Maybe it's not the moment to be just throwing in knight sacrifices.
Yeah, so after knight takes,
to win that back.
Are you thinking knight takes c3 in this position?
I don't know. I think this is just bad for black.
Yeah, no, I do as well. Shall we?
Yeah.
He's gone for the move rook c1, which looked really solid to me.
Consolidating. Yeah.
If we flick on the engine, it's confirming what we think, which is just a really big. We've got 1.5, so that means that's equivalent to a pawn and a half up for white. So that's basically saying black doesn't have much here, which makes a lot of sense.
As white, I'm just dying to play knight to b3, and then I think the party's over for black.
Yeah, I mean, this is protected. I'm going to castle on the next move, and then eventually white's going to be able to push those pawns on the queen side, and that is looking, quite dangerous here for the black side. So we have, this looks like quite a strong matchup that we've got here, and quite an interesting one here. What's your first thoughts on this position? Looks like white has the upper hand in this, what I'm guessing is Sicilian. But I really like these rooks on the e-file. That's a beautiful sort of feature that's going on for white, and he seems to have managed to sort of stem black's counterplay, at least for the moment. But have you got any ideas here for black to try and kind of like neuter this pressure a little bit, or maybe create some counterplay?
No. But at the same time, I'm not super worried as black either, because I'm sort of wondering, well, what's white going to do? Because black is a bit
Yeah.
zugzwangy, but then how is white progressing? Maybe put the knight on b5 and try. I don't even think you can sack. I don't know what do you think? How do you break through as white? Or are you just taking your time and slowly improving because black can't do very much?
It is tricky, isn't it? And this is probably a good move, knight b6. From black's perspective, I really want to get in this move a4. That would be great, because it means that I can break up this chain that's kind of white has here is really, really strong. It's blocking out this bishop in the corner and also this knight. And so if I could push a4 and then get a target here, that would be brilliant from the black side. And so from white, I want to make sure I'm definitely preventing that. I think as a sort of first stop, maybe. So I think what we're both thinking is that adds to the pressure on the e-file and also defends this pawn here. So and after that, I am liking white again. But yeah, tricky to think how you might finish this one. I mean, maybe you can try and push the H pawn. That's maybe an interesting kind of little side plan. Do you think it's worth trying to exchange these bishops, these dark square bishops here? Do you think that's a good idea for white? Or I'm not entirely sure actually.
There's a lot of knight hoppery in between there, and then it's like.
Yeah, the knights are definitely very tricky pieces. But yeah, I'm probably it's a tricky one. I definitely prefer white, but it's hard to come up with a concrete plan. So we'll have to come back to this one. Are there any games on this list?
White has got more time to think of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got an extra 2 minutes as well, which has got that goes very, very fast, and having a bit of extra time on the clock is definitely valuable. Are there any games on this list that catch your eye that you'd like to have a look at? Just looking at the names and hot times.
No, your choice.
Okay, let's go.
To see, the female players.
Yeah, should we go back up? I can't tell just sometimes from the names, but
no, we need a WFM or something, don't we?
We do, yeah. Should we have? Here we go. That's going to work. Should we head? Oh, this is again we saw
down to the clock.
Before, yeah. So this we just had the start of this game, and we got Cillian. Interesting. I've not played this actually from the black and white side, but looks fairly even. And then white got in a little bit of an expansion here with the queen, and looking quite good for white so far. Do we think from this position? I really like this hole on f5. That's good. And an exchange here on b5. So yeah, what do you think about this? I guess I'm looking at it from white side. I'm thinking this bishop is very stuck, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get it out. But at the same time, that's a really nice square for the knight. So yeah, how do you think those two play off against each other?
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. My thing is, when can I put my knight there? I know some people will never give up a bishop for a knight, but I would just whip that off in a heartbeat. And
I would be snapping that off instantly.
In
fact, I'm always wondering in this position, as a little sort of intermediate move, whether you can play bishop takes e3. Don't think it quite works here. My sort of thought was bishop e3, and then after queen e3, which has actually been played by black, but there's actually a pin on this file. And so after pawn takes, I'd be thinking bishop takes from white, and then I'm not sure how you recover the pawn. This is all on the board as well. Oh, and she's played them with bishop takes h3.
Wow. With seconds to spare.
Yeah, but that's a really interesting shot, I guess. So she's taken with the bishop. In this position, if you take with the pawn, then this rook is hanging. And so the black solution to that is to take on h3.
Bishop swap. Yeah.
Rook's defended. But White can grab this pawn and then come back, and
Yeah.
White's got a pawn from that exchange. I'm feeling like that's probably to his advantage. And then after f3, bishop f2, I can imagine that this bishop's going to come here. That goes back into the game. Suddenly, the knight's not looking so great on h7, and yeah, White's got to be for choice in this position.
I like white here, and there's no way you've got time to use that H file as black.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I don't think. And
yeah.
I mean, speaking of time, the time is very uneven there, isn't it? It's the seconds to minutes.
Yeah, if you had sort of, I don't know, 3, 4 free moves as black, you could go h5, h4, h3, and try and open up this king. But yeah, it's just going to be a bit slow, isn't it? And yeah, so not even looking good on this first board, I think. If we head back to board 3, that looks like a very similar. Oh, this is the Maroczy that we had at the start.
Yeah.
And black got this pawn, and we thought probably not enough compensation here. He's gone sort of with your plan a little bit on trying to gain control of the b file, but black managed to get this bishop out anyway. So I'm thinking that, still black is looking pretty good here. I don't like these double c pawns from the white side. I'm thinking, black, I can put a rook on c8, and that is going to create a lot of pressure really, really quickly.
Well, I'm sort of wondering, can black attack this white rook? Like, you know, how is that vulnerable?
Yeah, no, I like that. I wonder, is there a threat of playing knight d7 and then after rook b4 going a5 in that position? And that's pretty close to being trapped, isn't it? So, yeah, I think practically, and looking at the clock as well, white's got a minute 30 seconds left against black's 7.5. So really, white's going to be under a lot of pressure here to try and claim a draw.
Definitely. What's the increment? Do you know, Tom?
I'm not sure actually. From last year, I think it's about 10 seconds. So you've got to go pretty quickly. And yeah, once you're low on the clock, then you're not getting enough time to sort of make it back, and unless it's a kind of really sort of simple endgame. So yeah, a lot of pressure. I mean, we're getting towards the sort of crunch time in terms of time pressure. So some of these players will really be feeling the heat, I think. And this,
I think if I was white there, I'd be wanting to snip that bishop off and get the rook across, make the rook useful that way.
Yeah, from this position, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's
knight
kind of
takes bishop, attacking the queen, force a take, maybe more. I'm sure black has seen that.
Yeah, I'm wondering from this position that I think we're sort of half heading towards a repetition, and how black can avoid that. I guess that maybe you just put the bishop back on d7 and then try and find a way to defend this pawn. But yeah, I mean, if needed, you can, after, I'm thinking about the variation. So black's already tried bishop a4 here, and
this is true.
if we go knight b3, then here we're getting to a repetition, and I want to try and get some players as black. So maybe you can drop the bishop back here, and after knight to b3, yeah. Do you think
the rook takes b, whatever it is, b7?
Yeah, I'm wondering. So looking at this now, if I can actually pop the bishop on e8, which looks a little bit counterintuitive, and then after knight b3, whether I can leave this square open for my knight and try and create some threats here, and I'm ready to recapture that. But yeah, I think black probably still for choice. She's gone for this move rook d8. I like a lot.
I think that does make sense, because otherwise bishop taking the c knight looks excuse me, we've been joined by our junior commentator here, baby. Are you helping?
We've got a third party. This is good. Cool. I'm very sort of interested in this game as well, and an interesting endgame. White obviously for choice in this position, but yeah, how would you try and win this as white? It's not super obvious to me. I can see from looking at the bar that White's got a bit of an edge, but yeah, how would you try and press this one?
It's really difficult because the squares that I want, I don't have. I think
Yeah.
Black's doing a really good job of defending because I want to put my rook on d7 straight away, and I can't because of this. Hence White's idea of pushing the pawn, I guess. Dislodge the knight, pop your rook on d7, and I don't know why I think that magically makes everything all right, but it feels like
nice, doesn't
to
it?
go in.
Yeah. It does look kind of nice and chunky. So I'm imagining after knight e6 that maybe rook comes into d7, and yeah, I mean this feels really promising for White. I'm not sure. Yeah, are you thinking about knight d6 here, or what? What would be a follow up in this position?
It's a good point, isn't it? I'm going on instinct there, but yeah, I want to play bishop to h7. And again, I don't know why, just purely instinctively. It's probably a terrible idea because the king can the king can't because it's protecting the bishop. But
it does look like Black position sort of feels a little bit stuck, I've got to say. This knight doesn't have too many squares. This bishop is stuck, and the rook as well. What I would love to do in my dream is to spin the knight somehow into f5, and then that's looking really, really promising, hitting this bishop, and then pawn on h6 as well. And I wonder if we can combine your bishop h7 idea with this knight coming round. But yeah, I mean, still no really clear way through, but I mean, I'd love to be in White's shoes here. You can play this for as long as you like. Yeah, definitely looking promising for Warwick. And yeah, if we head to, this was the really strange Caro-Kann that we got before. And yeah, if we head back to where do we leave this one off? After queen d3, and then
questioning that h pawn, won't we?
Yeah, so
is it a strength or is it a weakness? Oh wow! I don't want to let Black in there.
Black got some activity from
this
very strange rook swing. This rook has gone up the board from d8 to f5 and then down to f2, which looks
fantastic.
Yeah, that's a lot of activity. I'm wondering why queen h2 wasn't played here. Yeah, if I'm going to cheat for a second. If I play queen h2, that is very nasty. It's saying that bishop e5 just traps a queen. That nets a whole queen. So he just decided to be a little bit more solid with queen to d7, and then this is why I'm in the commentary chair instead of playing the tournament, because get my queen trapped in the corner too often.
I would have been right there with you, Tom.
So yeah, I mean, this looks pretty solid for Black. I like the fact that White's managing to break in the center and get some play. But yeah, I think definitely a point about the h pawn that looks like a real weakness now, doesn't it? That the fact that this rook on h8 is tied down, and you've got this really nice centralized queen on e4 that's attacking it. So I'd be feeling pretty optimistic actually here as White. They've both got 2.5 minutes left, but yeah, I'm thinking that there might be a chance to get through to this king. This one looks really, really safe to me. But yeah, I mean, it's
G4.
possible. Yeah, queen g4, that is really nice. And then yeah, I mean, it's possible this position kind of fizzles a little bit with bishop d6, and we just get sort of a load of trades. And I'll be honest, I still prefer White in this position with this rook coming to g5. Your h pawn comes back as a really big theme as well. That's going to be weak. So yeah, I'm tempted to say that White's for choice here, but the engine doesn't quite agree with me. I think it's queen g6, and with this really strange maneuver, putting a rook on h5. I don't think. Have you ever seen anything like this before in a game?
I mean, probably, but then I play some crazy games.
Yeah.
You're not looking to me for the good solid chess. But I mean, if the computer likes White a tiny bit better after that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think. I mean, after this move, I've got to say, if I was looking at this position as black, that would not be on my list of candidate moves. Playing Queen G6 and Rook H5, but yeah, I do think here
Queen G4. Yeah.
Yeah, it does stop Queen G4 as well. That's nice. Yeah, and gets it off the back rank out of this pin, and but I think that's a tricky move. I'd be surprised with. I don't know how much time he's got. He's got a minute left on the clock. If he can find Queen G6, that is a tough one. I can see White's winning in this position. That looks very, very good. I think was this the this is the one with the queenside pawns that we had earlier, and I know it's a slightly different position. This was a sort of Slav type thing, and White managed to break in the center, and we fast forwards, you can see White has this 3-against-2 majority here, and at the end of the game, that's become a 3-against-0 majority. So it turned out very well, and feeling good. I think that's just an extra piece for White. So
does the knight check do anything?
Yeah. So if we put the knight on F.
No, sorry. It's White's turn. But I'm thinking
it's White's turn as well.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing if King G2, then Queen H2, King F3. That should be okay for White. So
no, there's nothing really there.
There's not much doing here. So I'm just looking at this. This is Warwick are playing against Birmingham. So Warwick, I think we're commentating on behalf of Warwick, so we should be predicting good things for them. If Sid is on the broadcast, he's watching, then Warwick are doing well. He'll be very happy with that. So this is still looking really promising. And then, in this game, probably maybe some slight edge for White, but Warwick looking pretty strong in this match. And what do you think of this position? I'm not sure the clock times are accurate in this one, but probably.
Oh right, the person looks timed out. That White on the rim, as we tell the kids. It's not ideal, is it? But then that's a beautiful D-file. I don't know. What does the computer think? It looks sort of. I would rather have black here, I think.
I'd much rather have black, I think. I'm looking. It's. I mean, that's half an extra pawn, but we've got an extra one over here. So, big advantage to black. And I'd sort of actually these two have some nice control of the center, and B6 A5. So Warwick looking like they're going to clean up this match, and pretty positive here. This one is Imperial against Loughborough, and Ollie Howell on board 1, looking decent actually in this position. Black probably slightly on the worst end of a draw, looking at this D pawn coming down the board. But I think Ollie should be probably in quite good shape to hold this one. But that kind of a rating gap. That is very impressive. He's obviously done well to hold a draw here. This is this was the one that we got on black. Seems to have made a bit of progress here. This was the one with the extra pawn that he grabbed on C5. And what do you think of this position?
It's an open-ended question, but I would rather have black here, definitely. White looks a bit uncoordinated. Do you think so?
I'm wondering, I'm seeing a weakness here, and a weakness here, and thinking, I mean, it is White's move, and probably rook takes F5 is going to be quite menacing. And I'm looking at this diagonal, a queen coming to the back rank, and but I mean that's a really tricky one, and black only got 12 seconds left on the clock. So I mean that could still go either way. This one has ended in a draw. That's just an opposite color bishop endgame. We can leave that, I think, for the moment. And this is UCL playing against. It looks like UCL have got two teams from the from the look of this broadcast, I think we saw them at the top as well. So they've got some strong players coming through. But yeah, what do you how do you feel about this one? I always really like having a knight on d5 if I'm black that can't be attacked. So from the sort of first impressions, I'd be feeling pretty solid about black's position. But yeah, I mean, he is, by the looks of it, he's a pawn down. And can you see a way through here for white? What would be your first? What would be your plan if you're playing this from the white side?
Pop the queen on c6 and hope.
Yeah, that looks like it forces a queen trade, actually. So yeah, it's quite dangerous. I mean, with these dark squares, if I had a dark square bishop here as black, I'd be much happier. But yeah, he's just decided to go a4. I guess kind of just holding things for now and trying to work out.
Both really tight on time. Look at that.
Yeah, that is very close.
Oh, yeah, and a 10-second increment. Yeah. It's very much what would you do if you had 10 seconds to make a move here, isn't it?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to put us through that, really. I think we can take our time and leave them to sort that out. But yeah, black offering a trade of queens, I'm thinking that even if in this kind of position, even if you trade queens, actually very hard to imagine white making any progress here.
Can't white force the trade with the passed pawn by playing queen c6 check?
Yeah, queen c6, I'd be thinking as black, I would probably trade, and then after king d8, I'm getting really close to this pawn.
You can't get your bishop in, can you?
Yeah. And
you get your bishop in, but the knight is just dominating everything.
And all of these are on light squares, which is a really big loss for white, that this bishop is kind of just floating around in midair, really. There's not too much to look at.
No.
So he's gone for the move h5, just maybe trying to try something on the king side, but it's not obvious how you can make any progress. I'm interested to see. The engine actually does quite like white's position, and I'm sort of I mean, I guess in this endgame there might be some chance.
Yeah.
I mean, possibly to get the king round, and then that could be a really nice point of the move h5, that it's just freeing up the h4 square for the king, which is very sneaky. But black,
okay.
Wow, black has taken on e5 and then gone for counterplay.
Wow.
And given a check on a1. I saw the engine was suggesting f4, which looks. I mean, we've got the benefit of Stockfish over here, but that does look quite nice. And I'm wondering after these. Wow, this is getting. Is that just a checkmate or getting pretty close? This looks quite nasty for black with this queen coming down to h8 and
scary.
He's given a check, and I'd be feeling pretty good there.
Yeah, and all happening really fast as well.
Yeah, we've got some results that have come in. We'll have to have a look at the scores on this front, but this one ended with a win, and here we're still waiting for some moves, but black's looking pretty good. And then if we scroll, I'm interested to see if this is a very interesting endgame. What do you think's going here? I'm noticing that
it's looking more.
This looks like a puzzle. This isn't real, is it?
It does. Yes, it looks like a fantasy puzzle. Yeah.
There should be some kind of zigzag in this position, it feels like, but it looks for the moment that black has got this all covered. Generally, if the king was kind of over here, then bishop a6 would be just devastating. But at the moment, I can take, and after, if we put those moves on the board, let's say I do something sort of a bit random as black, then takes. Generally, this could be sort of a really nice idea. But after b7, white's got this covered, and then it's all around down the board. So after b6, I'm tempted to say that this is a draw, but what do you think? Is there any
way to come through? Because the knight is that bit more flexible than that light squared bishop. Can
Yeah.
Black say, okay, you sit there, your king's not going anywhere, your bishop's not going anywhere. I'm gonna make 6 moves with my knight and get an attack on something. Is there
Yeah.
anything like that?
Is there a square, if you can magic your knight to any square on the where you can get it to?
I
I can't see a really
can't
obvious
get
one.
F1 or D1. There isn't anything because
That would be nice. If I can put it over here on C2, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
yeah. But it's
Eat
just,
this whole chain. But
yeah.
yeah, okay.
How
So
would you do it?
probably about equal in this one.
Yeah.
Just wanted to check back in with this ending, and yeah, it looks like Black is that's a queen by the looks of it. He's played Bishop D1, and Black managed to get the upper hand in this in this endgame. So that's a 1-0 in that one. I'm interested to see. Maybe we can go back and look at how Black managed
How
to
they got there? Yeah.
how he managed to win that one. In this game, Black actually got the victory from this quite difficult position. If we head back to this, it looked like White had a big advantage here, and then played knight c4 in this position, and it started to slip away. But yeah, really interesting. I mean, it's
very low on time, weren't they? They were playing the increment.
Yeah, I mean, it shows you it's the kind of one where you go back to your hotel room and have a look and kick yourself a bit. They're always gutting when you see these numbers afterwards. But yeah, should we check in here? This was the sort of bishop ending game we had, and this looks really good for White, doesn't it? I'm guessing this pawn on b5 does a great job of that in constraining these two over here on the queen side. And yeah, potentially I'm going to take here. And yeah, is there any White is White up a pawn? Yeah, White's up a pawn in this position. You're probably going to get to g7, but I'm thinking that
can you play as White? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
But can you just play bishop takes f6 check as White?
Yeah, potentially. So are you thinking in this position if I play f3, king g7, and then doing something here with bishop f6 or g5?
No, I was thinking before that as a way to try to queen the pawn. Does that work? If the knight takes before the king was
okay.
Yeah,
with some sort of combination there. Yeah, I guess
knight... after once the queen is on f5,
yeah, and then king e7.
No, we don't have time. We don't have time because the knight can go back. But I was thinking, let's take the knight and queen the pawn, but it doesn't work. There's not time.
Yeah, we're pretty close to making something work here as White, but I guess after g4, then potentially, and I think he's done this in the game, that you're actually going to get to hang on to this pawn, because after g5 you capture, and then I mean this looks really great. Do you think? I'm looking at it now. I mean, White is 2 pawns up, but it is still a little bit tricky. You are going to tie this king down, but potentially because it's light square, then maybe you get a blockade here. Am I reaching a bit? Do you think White should probably be winning this? But yeah, I'm just imagining.
If you can swap pieces as White, then I feel like you're laughing. But can you?
Definitely. Yeah, I wonder if kind of in this position. Okay, let me put the knight here, and we get something like this where the king comes out, and this is kind of what I want to try and avoid. I think here, and this is probably a good illustration, that we've got king h6, and after king g8, move f7 comes in, and that means that probably this blockade doesn't hold, and White's going to get through. But yeah, we've got something similar in the game, but Black's managed to create this passed pawn, which I've got to say I like quite a bit. But yeah, are there any? Lots of these ones are finishing up. I think but yeah, have we got any match results that have come through? This is Imperial. Look like they are heads in this one. I know Loughborough have got 2 wins, so they're looking pretty good in that match, and probably I think we said a draw here, so Loughborough probably coming out on top against Imperial, and Warwick we think probably still looking good. I guess some of these boards have concluded, and we're just sort of waiting for the results to come through.
It looks
yeah,
like that was a loss on time, doesn't it? That one.
Yeah. Should we stay with this endgame and see what's going on here? Yeah. What do you think? What do you think in this one? Is white? I'm thinking that maybe d5.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be white because that knight can't move, can it? So.
Yeah. So after he's got bishop d6. Interesting. And then maybe looking to just kind of position this bishop back here. I guess black's moves forced.
Has to go back. G8. Yeah, it has to.
And then it's the way I'm thinking. Maybe I can get a knight f6 check in as black, and that might kind of reduce your options a little bit. Or but I'm not entirely convinced. Into h8. So
because now the knight can't move, the king can't move for black, and white's bishop is stopping the b pawn, and doesn't white just get out of the way and run the d pawn?
Maybe I'm thinking that as black. So if I play knight f6, what's your follow up here? Are you thinking d5 or putting the bishop on b4?
Or maybe even just bishop to b4 or to c5 even.
Oh yeah, I like I like this a lot. And putting it on b4, that stops this move as well, so we're reducing black's options further.
Yeah.
And
it's zugzwangy.
It looks very zugzwangy, isn't it? I'm guessing that this pawn comes here, and then you need both the king and the knight to try and to hold this guy.
Yeah.
And probably that's enough for white to win. Should we flick on?
Yeah.
That's going to be enough to win. I think 37 points will.
37.
Will probably do
really
it.
Convincing. I wouldn't mind being 37.4.
Yeah.
Again.
I'd love that in some of my games. I don't think I've ever had 37. But when
anyway, never mind.
Yeah, so I guess it's saying, it looks similar to what we've been suggesting. We get to a position where the d pawn just moves forward, and in this position, black has a really difficult choice with either I've got to move the king or I can't really do much with the knight, and so this knight drops, and then we're going to be able to queen the g pawn. So, nice conversion here from white, and that could have quite a big impact on this match. It looks like we've got a repetition. Oh, this looks like an interesting ending to the game, actually. So after this, it sort of registers as a draw, but it says that black missed a win here, which is interesting. It says white just ended up repeating, sort of, and black actually was really low on time in this position, and went for the draw. But apparently in this position, rook e3 was getting some
king up the board. Check with the queen, drive it into the pawns.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this. Unfortunately, king f4, which is what I like to play. I mean, there's queen h2, which just skewers along this diagonal. But even stronger is to just push it this way, and then h5, and that's going to be mate. So a missed opportunity. It looks like here. That's going to be tough. So that's Oxford playing against probably UCL1 in this one, and Oxford. Amanda, I'm sorry to say, but I think Oxford have looks like they've won that one on balls 3 and 4. So that match has been tied up. Have we got any others left? I think this game's probably concluded. I think we've had a handshake here, I would guess.
That's the drawiest draw that ever drew.
Yes, exactly. We've got a king. The kings just aren't on the right squares, I would guess. but yeah, so this one, that's a lot of extra pawns, and yeah, that was the semi-Slav we had from way back, and yeah, this has got to be probably concluded as well. And what do you think of this position? Is white? Yeah, this is just a big advantage to white. I guess this game has probably concluded. But yeah, should we have a look and try and type some scores? Have we got a sort of cross table down here, or there might be one for in between the rounds that we can have a look at? But yeah, so in this one, it looks like probably we're sort of surmising this game was probably a win for KCL. We're guessing, and then this one probably also a win. So I'm guessing KCL probably came out on top in this one, just looking at the positions. And then yeah, this, I think we've got some transmission things coming through on the broadcast. But Warwick probably looking quite strong in this. Here we go. We've got some results. So yeah, it looks like white did manage to win that position, which is pretty impressive. I like the fact we've got this rook on a7, which is, yeah, it's staying here and it's tying down black's pieces. So that one ended, and yeah, it looks like a 4-0, potentially 4-0 win for Warwick against Birmingham, which they'll be pleased about. Yeah, looking down the cross table, looks like Imperial have had quite so even score. Loughborough got that one on board 2, and then also on board 4. So that's quite a strong result for Loughborough against quite a strong Imperial side. So they'll be pretty happy there. And then Cardiff. Oh, that's Cambridge. Cambridge picked up a win against Cardiff with a victory there. So probably, I mean, the stronger teams tend to come out on top on lots of these matchups when you've got 4 people playing against each other. That can be a tough one. But yeah, lots of fighting chess in that round, as you said. There were some quite exciting games and people willing to kind of push the bar out and come up with some interesting ideas.
Yeah, that was some real chess. I really enjoyed it. That was great. I was expecting much more caution, and I was glad not to find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Should we take a very short break and then come back for the next round? I'm going to get in touch with our tech crew and see what when we need to come back. But yeah, see you probably in about 15 minutes or so.
See you shortly. Thanks, Tom.
Cheers, Amanda. Bye.
Bye.
What?
against the next Division 4 round 5. Loughborough 2. What the fuck? Their average rating is 1700.
Oh, sometimes. Okay, so who are we against?
Yeah.
Why is mine lower rated than yours?
Just looking back at that UCL game is so annoying. Yeah, no, a podium finish at Division 1 would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Division 2 we are going for the win.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is my audio still?
Hi Tom, you're live again. I think if you refresh the page you have open there, I think the results should update for the championship. Perfect.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the stream. My name's Tom. I'm here with Amanda. We're back on the British University Chess Championships, and yeah, should we jump into the cross table? Looks like Oxford are doing pretty well at the moment. They've got 4 wins, so want to focus on there. Should we jump over to the chess and see if there's anything happening?
Let's go for it. I have to say, UCL licking at their heels. I have to say that.
I think we had UCL against Oxford in the last round, and Oxford managed to kind of squeak a win there. So, but yeah, UCL definitely you're being well represented so far in the championship. So yeah, we're just getting some first moves on the boards here. We've got D4. And this position here, I've played this quite a bit as white, this kind of symmetrical Grunfeld structure where these pawns have been exchanged on D5, and white has a kind of slight pull. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty symmetrical position, but Amanda, is this the kind of thing you go for with kind of basically a pretty even structure? And just, do you like having a slight edge as white, or are you looking at something a bit more dynamic from the start?
Yeah, I want to be getting something for having the white pieces, and this is already looking very even, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. Yeah, I've got to say, from going from this position, I sort of from here, I always like playing sort of castles or knight d2 as white, just to keep a little bit more tension. And I always felt that fixing the structure in this way, there's not so much to play for. Very often these positions go down this kind of track, and you can see we've got a symmetrical structure, and white often plays the move knight e5 to try and prove some advantage that sort of positions this at a really nice point in the center, and also this bishop kind of opens up. So yeah, maybe white gets a slight pull here, but I mean, this is going to be a slow boil, so one to come back to. I'm just sort of looking down the list. This is UCL against Cardiff that we've got, and yeah, it looks pretty interesting. White started with this move b3, which is a typical kind of rapid opening, I think, where, I mean, very often I'm used to playing e4 or d4, just sticking a pawn in the center, but yeah, instead we've got
Nimzowitsch Larson.
Yeah. I lose track of where the names are with these different things, but that sounds right, doesn't it?
And it's a grind. I had a coach who wanted me to play this, I think because I was a girl. I think the idea was that you're not doing anything to, aggressive.
No.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that, I think. He was like, no, you don't want any of your center pawn openings. Play this and you can't lose any pieces and you'll be fine. And it's just hideous. Depending on your style, if you're a very positional player, fair enough, but yeah, it's not the most fun thing to play.
Yeah, this looks pretty, I mean, it looks a bit unnatural, especially with this last move. White's played b3 and then after d6 in order to stop black from planting this pawn in the center, which would be kind of a really nice, let's say, I don't know, we go to something like g3. Black could play the move e5, and you can see that once the bishop gets to b2, it's just biting on this pawn here, and there's not too much doing here for white. So yeah, white had to play this move d4, but I've got to say that looks quite unnatural to me, that you've tried to do this little thing at the side, and then we've had to go back to playing in the center. So yeah, I can't say I'm a massive fan of this opening, but yeah, I mean, it's developed quite a long way, and I mean, white looks okay here.
Not too bad, yeah.
Yeah, it looked probably about even. I was thinking very often in these positions, they kind of look a bit like a King's Indian, and maybe black is looking at this move e4 to try and push in the center, and then after knight d2, trying to kind of solidify with d5. At this specific point, the rook's on c1, and so that's going to stop you from kind of getting some sort of combination in the center. But yeah, so I mean, a very tense position. What do you like white here, or what's your impression of this one? I'm not quite sure what to make of it. White's going to be expanding on the queen side, but I mean, maybe there's some play through the center. What do you think?
I feel like this could go tactical, but then the time is an issue as well, isn't it? Because it feels like there might be combinations brewing here, but then who's got time to think of them? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess these plays are quite quick and they've got a 10-second increment. But this doesn't feel super. I mean, maybe it does convert to being super strategic, but I don't know. I feel
I'm
tactics in their water.
Yeah, maybe. And it's a really fluid structure, isn't it? White's got sort of ideas with b5 or c5, which really kind of change the character of the position. And yeah, I'm wondering about this move knight f8, I've got to say, is that maybe he's thinking that he wants to open up this bishop and then maybe trade here, and then that kind of gets this off the back rank. But yeah, I mean, a tricky one to navigate for both sides. But yeah, I do like this expansion over here on the queen side as white. I've got to say that
more space, definitely.
Yeah, that's some space, and also I'm thinking classically in these positions that black could be kind of going e4 and trying to get a bit of a spearhead for an attack on this side. But I don't really see it at the moment, and I think white probably for choice, at least in practical terms, but a really long way to go. Yeah, for head down, this is the same match. This is Cardiff against UCL, and probably some sort of, I'm guessing, a Caro-Kann, and we're seeing this B3 variation come up again, which I've got to say is really strange to me. This is something that I'm missing. I don't play E4 or the Caro-Kann from either side. So yeah, interesting system that white's come up with. Really similar to that game we had last round where this H pawn came sort of right down the board. But yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this one. Do you think white's kind of heading for a G4 attack sort of really quickly with this king coming to the queen side, or yeah, is he looking for something a bit more solid? I'd probably be looking to go for G4 really, really quickly in this position.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. There's no way black is castling queen side. Yeah, and it's a race to the attack in these kind of positions, isn't it? I would play G4 in a heartbeat here.
Yeah, I like G4 a lot, and yeah, I guess if you go H6 here, that does kind of stop this threat for the moment, but potentially white's just going to follow up with H4. Yeah, and you just want to go for it. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's feeling really, really good for white in this position. So yeah, I've got to say this bishop b2 system is working out pretty well so far. So yeah, white, we think probably for choice in that one. Yeah, should we head down, see if we can get... Oh, this looks like an exciting matchup, actually. This is KCL against Warwick, board 1. And yeah, I mean, a really interesting kind of position. After d4, black's played d6, which I can't say I've seen before. And we head towards this kind of... we carry on. We head towards what's known as a kind of Philidor position as black. And here... white has a choice. You can play knight c3 in this position, but white's chosen to do something different and play c3. And if we head down to the board, then we've got knight e5 here. And yeah, I mean, white probably feeling quite good here, but yeah, I mean, this knight on f5 sticks out. I'm guessing that you're chopping that off pretty quickly. But yeah, feels solid enough for black. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what the move would be here for white. Do you think maybe we're looking to trade on e5, or what's the what are your options for a plan?
Yeah, I don't know. I maybe trade on e5, but the trouble is then, oh, f knight is coming off because I'd like to trade on e5 and then play because I'm crazy. Knight takes h6,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
check,
So,
and then swing the queen around.
yeah, so can we orchestrate something? I guess, I mean, my first thought in
I
this
play the
position would
check first. No, play the check.
go for knight
Knight,
h6.
knight take. Yeah, it's a check.
Interesting. Okay, because I was thinking if you
And
leave it
then
there, then I'm going to take it. So
yeah,
yeah, queen d3 maybe trying to kind of
maybe. Yeah,
get
yeah,
across. And
yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean it's tricky. I'd be kind of, if I was black in this position, I'd kind of be hedging my bets and saying maybe I can go
Right.
bishop e6 and try and say you don't
Yeah.
quite have enough pieces. I feel like
No, you're right. I didn't notice the bishop on f8 was
that's
hiding there.
that's such an
That's a
important piece,
big
and
factor.
it's an interesting thing. Like often in these positions, when bishops go back to f8, you think it's just undeveloped, but yeah, I mean that is really critical, and probably
Yeah,
in a variation here, there's not too much doing for white.
there's
But
nothing. No.
I like your move
Oh, that's pity.
taking, and yeah, I mean maybe white just drops back with queen d3 in this position and says, if you want to take, you can try, but I've got two bishops, and maybe I'm gonna create something on the h6 square. But yeah, feels like black should have just about enough resources here to
Yeah.
hold this in balance.
No, that bishop's a little beast there. And I didn't
That is,
even see it.
it's a nasty one, yeah. So should we head sort of very quickly over to the plate, Division 2, and see what's happening over there? If we go down to this one, and then onto round number 5. This, yeah, just to kind of take a bit of a sample here. This is, wow, this is looking like a very, very interesting position. I'm intrigued actually as to how we got here. This looks like a French, and then Queen A5, which I can't say I've seen before. And then the Queen ducks back to C7. Very interesting kind of little combination we've got going on here. But Bishop takes F2, and White's trying to say that there's enough compensation for the pawn. But yeah, I mean, what?
King's a bit disarranged. Yeah.
To B8 in this position, and I've got to say I don't see it. I mean, lots of white pieces are developed, and that's definitely a plus. But this king is in the center, and if I can get out as black, then I'm feeling pretty happy. I've got to say I'm interested to see what the engine. The engine wants to take on E5. Interesting. And then saying in this version, yeah, it's thinking that the black can. It's all right there. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Oh, I know some of these people, so I'll have to drop in and see what they're doing. Oh, okay. Interesting. So we've got two knights against two bishops in this one. Looks kind of even, but yeah, who would you prefer to have here? I'm wondering. I like this knight on e5 for white. I think that's nice, but also, I mean, black looks pretty solid, and there's no real weaknesses. So yeah, what would be your plan in this position with white? I'm thinking maybe kind of throwing the knight towards b5, but that's an interesting way to go. But yeah, I mean, a tricky one, or maybe trying to build up on the e file, but probably about even, I would guess, at the moment.
Yeah, it looks about the same, doesn't it? I'd rather have white, but only because I can see the next couple of moves for white. With black, I'm thinking, no, what do I do?
Yeah, completely. But what are your next couple of moves that you're playing as white?
Well, like you say, drop the knight onto b5 and maybe try and stuck up on the e file. It feels like there are options, whereas for black, I don't really want to swap that bishop for the knight, even though the knight is great. I don't want all those holes.
Yeah.
those dark squared weaknesses. And then what else am I doing? I can advance my A and B pawn, I guess, but to what end? Like, do you see any good moves here for black?
I don't sort of really. I mean, especially because
Hmm.
that C pawn is weak as well. I guess the
Hmm.
one thing I'd be sort of angling for is maybe if I can get A6 and rook B8 and to try and push something on the queen side that would defend this pawn, and then maybe sort of very later down the line I can get B4 in and try and target this pawn on B2.
Mhm.
But yeah, just to
Yeah,
go back
you've
to
got a
that
plan.
variation
Yeah.
you were talking about, I think we were saying as black, don't take on E5. We could potentially get a queen trade, something like this. And here
Mm.
you're feeling really, really good as white. You've got lots of time to spin this knight, maybe to C2, to B4, if we can get the arrows. There we go. Coming into B4, and this bishop is kind of like a big pawn, isn't it? It really doesn't have too many options. So yeah, just keeping the tension as he's done playing E6 looks pretty sensible. But yeah, probably we slightly prefer white, but yeah, not too much in it.
Not hugely. No.
Yeah, I'm just scanning. If we have a look at, just drop into this board here. This is from Imperial. I'm guessing Imperial 2 against Oxford 2. Yeah, so in this one, interesting position. We see black's king's quite open here, which I guess is a plus for white. And you can imagine if I could get this queen over and maybe the rook in some other scenario, that'd be quite promising. But yeah,
because I was straight away looking at knights on F4, and then of course that inconveniently places the pawn. All in mind, you get that beautiful diagonal. How do you get anything else in to help you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be sort of looking at that, and probably white being a little bit for choice. What would you be thinking as black? You'd want to drop the knight back in this position, or thinking that you want to take on D3? What would be your choice there?
I'd go backwards because I don't like all that air around my king.
Yeah, no, this looks nice, doesn't it? Just kind of providing, and you're blocking on the G file as well, which is good. And I mean, maybe there's some chances here for black that with these pushing these pawns, if you time it at the right time, you can imagine a knight coming into F6 and things kind of starting to turn black's way and maybe getting through to white's king. So, I mean, a double-edged one there. I mean, yeah, and I'm wondering if C5 could be on the table for white. I mean, that could be an interesting. You can see this rook here is defended, so we can sort of use the B file a little bit, and that's really what white wants, right? To open up the position before you start to roll down on the king side. But yeah, I mean, maybe so he's gone for D takes C6, which is interesting. I'm going to a little bit and flick on with the engine. It says white's a little bit for choice here, which I'm still sort of starting to warm up with this king. I think that's the really key thing in this position, isn't it? The king being weak. And yeah, that's probably white's navigated this well.
How did they get to that position? Because I was thinking there's no way you could get there without having the pawn on F4.
Yeah, so we've got sort of heading back. I think black went for F5 at some stage, which is always quite risky when you're pushing pawns in front of the king. I think black in this position sort of was running out of a plan and thought, okay, I'm going to try and just stir things up, but maybe it's backfired a little bit. He didn't sort of go with your suggestion and
didn't go backwards.
Yeah, he was worried about this move C5, but yeah, we get a capture and. Yeah, so it sort of went from symmetrical to something very, very different where black's got space, but maybe you can use it. So, but yeah, I mean, I'd be feeling like I have good chances here as black to sort of try and solidify. It's quite hard to break through and limited material, but I'm
it probably looks worse than it is, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably. And point 8 is the kind of thing you can get around that if you're fast in this kind of time control. But yeah, I'm going to head very quickly back to the to the championship. If we head to round number 5, this looks, I'm sort of just heading onto this position as the first one that's caught my eye, and that looks very, very promising for white. If we take the engine off for a second, I'm looking at these pawns and going, that's scary, and I'm not sure what I'm doing. I mean, white to move f6 looks really, really promising here in this position, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Oof.
I'd be that's, I mean, just looking at the contrast between the pieces, these two bishops here kind of sidelined off on the queen side, and you've got these like two sort of amazing pieces. He's gone for f6. It reminds me a bit, there were some games from Alpha Zero that were published sort of a while ago where they had these amazing bishops on sort of A1 and B1, just like with massive scope over the board. And I mean, it makes a huge difference, and this is a good example of that. So yeah, white probably the choice here.
Very scary. Where are you even going with black with that queen? Like, I can,
no idea.
just nightmare.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, something like
down to play. I don't see anything.
I don't see it, to be honest.
No.
It's really tricky. I mean, something like queen e6, he's gone queen d7, but f takes, you still can't take this pawn, and then this rook is just going to plant itself on f6 and double.
Yeah.
It's not getting easier here for white.
Can you swing the queen to c6? Or is that just really ridiculous? I mean, it's ridiculous. They're just going to pop a rook up one and you just help them.
I think so. I mean, it's an interesting
file straight away.
Yeah.
It's a desperate attempt.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. But I mean, I'd be thinking rook f6 really, really strong here for white. And importantly, if you try queen c4, trying to get the queens off, then you notice we've got this pin on this diagonal, and I can take that and snap on b7, and that's going to be an extra piece and a win for white. So he's gone queen d7, but this is looking very, very difficult.
What does the computer say? I think that's about 4 points. What's it, 7 points even? It
would get a 37 from me. It's saying that the move e6.
I wasn't far off with 7. Oh, hang on, it's going up and up and up. It's going up and up and up and up.
You're in the exact right ballpark. I mean, e6 is a fantastic move. He's gone with queen e3 in this position, which I think is also, I mean, that's an excellent move. But if we just have a look at e6 for the second, the computer's saying you can give up this pawn. That opens up the bishop, and then it wants to plonk the bishop here, and this guy's a target as well. And it's just saying you've got to. Horrible. If it's suggesting the move e5, I think we can safely say that white is, with this queen hanging, that white's going to be clearly for choice. So that's looking pretty promising.
I would not like to have black here at all. It's just
absolutely not
one of those positions where you're just sitting there like waiting to die.
Yes, yeah, it's not a comfortable with. I mean, he's gone down to. You can see he's gone down to 4 minutes against 10. So, white consumed a lot of time actually to get here, but even with 10 minutes on the clock, that's looking quite scary.
You know what? With the moves that have been on the board, I feel like maybe because white has had less time, they've gone a little bit easy on black, because this feels a little bit less scary now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's still, the computer is still angling for this move e6, which I've got to say looks devastating. But yeah, I think you're right. If you can imagine I get a bishop here, that's going to sort of that's a really chunky square. And I can imagine, trying to sort of crawl back into the game potentially as black. But yeah, I mean, probably still white for choice, but maybe white had something a bit more incisive. He's gone rook f4 in this position, which I like as well. And maybe are we heading back to g6 in this position with the queen?
Does that queen have enough squares there?
Yeah, he's done it.
On
h3, I would be worried about that.
Got the rook on there.
Bishop h3, and I'm agreeing with you. That looks nasty. should we flick on the numbers are still
Yeah.
looking good, but
Mm.
wants to play this very strange move, Queen C1, which yeah, I'm not sure I can see. He's gone for
Attacks
Queen
the
B4.
bishop, attacks the dark squared bishop straight away.
Yeah. These retreating moves I've got to say, are really hard to find, but
Mm.
the engine can manage. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the computer's sort of highlighting what we said earlier, which is
Yeah.
put the bishop
Get
on
that
E6,
bishop
then
activated. Yeah.
I can sort of see a world where that covers this, and yeah, I mean, maybe Black's coming back into the game now, but yeah, I wouldn't.
Mm.
I'd
I used
still
to say,
bet on
well
it.
played. Yeah. Well played, Black, because we were head in hands there, weren't we? And
We were
maybe
thinking in
managing
30
to-
seconds we'd be moving on to the next game, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's hanging on. But
Yeah.
yeah, are there any on these pairings? Should we check in with this one? Ooh, this was the Caracan, I think, that we had with this move Queen F3 earlier on, and
Mm.
yeah, White sort of managed to get quite strong initiative here and is opening up the game. You can see that the position's kind of starting to clarify, and White's got a nice king over here, and Black is kind of stranded on the other side of the board, hasn't castled yet. So I mean, that's got to be
Yeah.
promising. And he's found this move Queen C7, which I've got to say
Oh.
looks really nice.
Well, I
And-
wanted the fork, because how are they getting out of the fork without moving their king?
Yeah, I wonder in this position. So Black's played knight E4, and I'm thinking
That's a good point. Maybe you can't keep that. Yeah.
he's just hanging on with this move King D8,
the knight.
and then
I didn't see the knight move. Yeah.
hanging, and you're just kind of hanging things
No.
together. But
Yeah.
Queen C7 is fantastic, actually,
Yeah.
and that's looking really, really good. I think the point is that I'm just trying to claim this square and boot your queen out of the way. So
Mhm.
Queen A6, maybe I can. I mean, I'd be tempted to play a move like kind of H4 in this position, just to give myself a bit of a bolt hole on this side of the board. But yeah, I mean, looking really, really nice, I think, here for White in this sort of slightly strange structure with the king kind of already on the queen side. But yeah, I'm just going to pick up another game. I see the bar is going down, and this is a dream position for Black. I've got up on my screen here. That is really, really nice. Yeah, how would you? I guess, I mean, we're looking at this position. I think we're both thinking this is looking really good. We've got a knight here on D5 on a really strong square that attacks this pawn and kind of reaches all into Black's position here, into White's position, and looking really, really strong. What would be a follow-up here as Black? You've obviously got a pretty strong position, but are you thinking of kind of doubling rooks on the C file, bringing the king in? How do we finish this off here as Black?
Maybe, because this is the thing, Black has so much more space, and like you say, they've got control over key squares. But also, if you look at C3, that's defended 1, 2, 3, 4 times. You know, how straightforward is it to break into there? Because you can be attacking it. You can be attacking it 4 times, and then where does that get you? You know what I mean? You've run your pawns down the board. How are you?
Yeah,
There must be a way. There must be
There's
a way.
got to
I guess
be.
it's what
I think
happens after
so
the
much
swap.
of it. Yeah, so much of it is about timing this break correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if we make a move for White, whether there's an option to play C3 and after takes, try and do something with B3 and trying to. I'm obviously threatening this fork, and not so easy to get out of White as White, and then maybe I can try some that in here. But I mean, yeah, it's not. I've got to say, for what looks like kind of 3 points, I'm interested to see how the engine would be making progress there. It looks like it's kind of sitting on the position, and then it's trying to break on the king side. That's really instructive, actually. I think
that is interesting. Yeah.
So
Keep the tension
yeah,
over here and off to the other side.
I think we've been looking a lot on the queen side, which is the obvious place to go. But I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at this position here, White's piece is all kind of stuck over here on the back rank, and it's thinking that from the computer's perspective that h6 and g5, if I can open up the position, these rooks, although they're kind of stuck on the c file, are actually primed to come over to the h file and then start doing some real damage, whilst you're really, really stuck over here. So yeah, I mean, if he finds that plan in the position, he's sort of going for what we said, which was trying to double here. But yeah, I mean, that looks pretty promising, I think, as white. So as black, sorry, and c3 apparently on the cards now, which is interesting. I'm guessing, and I'm going to turn the engine off, but I'm thinking maybe after this that there's something to do with the rook being hanging, or maybe b3 in this position, and you're not getting out of this. But yeah, I mean, maybe we can leave that and see if black can finish that one off coming up a bit later. I'm going to head. We should cover Warwick, I think, just for a couple of minutes. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, what do you, I mean, sort of from first glance, this position looking a little bit better for white, I would say, with this king weak. And I mean, this pawn is a target. I do like this bishop on h5. It's on quite a nice square, and white's coming back to re-centralize the knight. But yeah, what kind of number would you put on white's advantage here?
Let's see. I don't think it's crushing. Maybe 2.5, 3.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd be probably a bit more conservative than that, but I'm not convinced. I mean, it's not super obvious to me what the plan is. I guess that I'm going to be able to collect this pawn on c4, which is going to help me to sort things out. Well, actually, this is hanging, and this is
a bit
hanging.
sad as well. Yeah,
I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say about 2.5, and I'm thinking we were completely bang on. This is we should do this much more often.
We should do this for money. Can we get down to William Hill and put a bet on these?
We should. That is a fantastic idea. We should absolutely be doing this for money. Yeah. If anyone is watching and wants to sponsor us or pay us like an extortionate rate, then yeah, please get in touch.
Go do gambling.
He's gone for queen d6. White's been a bit premature in this position and tried to swap off, but yeah, just looking at the computer here,
and
it's
there
saying
goes your advantage.
There it goes, and you've got someone. So I think a 1900 slightly weaker player having a big advantage against a stronger opponent, and sometimes that happens, and you bottle it a bit. And I think in this position, Black's kind of starting to straighten things out. I mean, probably from White's thinking that, and he's played it, that F7's going to drop and there's something here, but these queenside pawns are coming fast. Yeah, I mean, you need to allow this.
When you're the weaker player, it's so tempting, isn't it, to say, "Oh, I've got an advantage. Let's just swap everything, and then this will boost my advantage." But then, of course, the stronger players are so good at end games, generally speaking.
They're so good. Yeah, scary. And if you give them a chance, we were looking and thinking White's dominant, but yeah, if you give them a way out, then they're gonna take it, and that's what happens in this game. And looking, I mean, this could turn sort of very quickly after bishop to e4. The computer's saying that we get some sort of trade on f7, and I mean, these pawns are coming down the board really, really fast from black, so it could be that things turn around. So
black's king's closer to the action as well, it feels, and that can be a big factor.
If we switch over to this game, obviously, I mean, I won't ask you for the number here because it's on the screen, but it says White has an advantage here, and I've got to say it looks a bit better than that for White. I'm really liking the position with his bishop sort of on b3, and maybe there being some kind of mating threats, or we're not quite there because the king's got this sort of bolt hole on h7. But yeah, I mean, I'd be thinking this is looking really, really promising for white, actually. And with the rook coming down, I guess your next move as white is to position the rook on the 7th rank and start trying to collect these pawns. So yeah, I mean, Viktor Stoyanov, I think, in trouble maybe in this game. Yeah, it's gone very, very fast. We're getting people down to less than a minute on the clock. I'm trying to see where there's one that's a little bit more even. If we head to
the weaker, inverted commas, weaker players, we're looking at a lot of combinations of players that are, there's 150, 200 rating point difference, and the less strong player is doing well. And I wonder how many of those will be able to convert, because I think that's often the mark of the stronger player, isn't it? That the worse things get, they go in the tank and they come up with something.
Yeah, and when you've got kind of 20, 30 seconds on the clock, even if you've got a big advantage, these things can swing really quickly. I think we saw something similar in the last round where white had a big advantage for most of the game, and then it just somehow kind of slips away. But yeah, this one, this looks like one where I'd be feeling pretty confident, pretty safe as white, actually. With this, we can see it's even material, but actually white's got some pressure on the c-file. We've now seen a trade of queens, and I think black is playing this well, trying to get some counterplay in the position. But yeah, after some sort of trade like this, and then maybe, I mean, I'd be tempted. You've got to defend his pawn, so maybe to put the bishop back on e3, just kind of trying to angle towards the queen side. I'd be feeling like white has some chances here. Maybe not objectively having a big advantage, but yeah, I mean, do you think, is it worth thinking about kind of trying to push the c pawn? And yeah, I'm not sure.
If I feel like if I were black, I would want to try and swap the pieces if at all possible, and then you've got an extra, then you've got a passed pawn.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? But at the moment, it just feels like a target.
Yeah, it does. If you can imagine getting to something like a rook end game in this position, I think that would be much like, if this bishop disappeared from the board, you can imagine this rook coming down and maybe getting behind this pawn. So yeah, at the moment, I'd slightly prefer white. But this has actually happened in the game. We've had an exchange, and bishop e3 is what the engine wants to do. And it's, at the moment it's saying that this pawn is a bit weak, this guy's a bit weak, and the bishop also a bit loose on b2. Maybe I'm going to be able to get tempo and come down here, but yeah, very, very narrow margins in that one. If we this one exploded very, very quickly. We're just trying to catch up to here. I see a
now I want white. Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, looking at
it was black's turn.
Wow. It's black's turn, which is important.
It was black's.
If we made a random move for black, then I think queen d8 would be quite a strong reply there.
That would be a decent move.
That would be decent, but yeah. So in this version, I think probably it just ends in the draw. I'm thinking queen f2 for black, and then if king h3, you don't really want to do that because we've got this bishop coming in from the side of the board, and that's going to give a checkmate. So the king comes back to h1, and black can't really parry this threat. So probably it's just going to end in a draw with
Yeah.
It's always a shame when these exciting positions just kind of fizzle out. But yeah.
I think you feel quite satisfied on either side after that. We've had a good game.
Yeah. Probably if it goes back and forwards a little bit, black's better, white's better, everyone kind of feels like a draw's maybe a fair result. But yeah, this one's very interesting. We've got white probably. I'm thinking white's going to be able to get a passed pawn on the queen side coming through in this position, maybe. And after this, let's say I take with the queen. and then after queen takes, pawn takes, a4, I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to push and then push again, and this king looking like it might be just a little bit outside of. I think in chess terms we talk about a square in this position where you draw it from here to over, and it should be. I'm guessing that should be
in
a win
another country.
Yeah, exactly. So in this position actually c6 after takes. Don't take this way because then I get my king sort of a bit closer to the pawn, but I can go this way and then this a pawn is too far and you're not going to stop that one. So I think this one I've got to head over. He's only got 9 seconds left on the clock in this one, or he did. Black supposedly for choice here, but I can't say I would have guessed that looking at it from the start. I'm thinking that white's queen is going to swing over to this side of the board, and I don't know, maybe you've got enough to parry these threats with the. I guess what the engine is thinking is that after queen h5 that this bishop is going to head back to g6, and black's probably got enough to hang on and to do things on the queen side. But I mean that looks pretty double-edged from here. Do you think you'd be going with queen h5 in this position to try and achieve something, or queen g4 maybe? That looks quite attractive to me.
It does look attractive, but it looks kind of short term as well. Because can I just play? No, I can't. But I don't know. It feels like white's got that domination on the queen side. But you're right. Maybe white has tactical chances. But I guess the computers seeing the tactics and finding the way out of them, whereas the player with 10 seconds on the clock might well not be in such a happy position. That does look quite annoying. What about something like queen to e7?
I'm wondering. I mean, you can do it immediately, and that really sort of shores up the king side. And I guess when you sort of take a second look at it, you're thinking this diagonal's covered, which is really convenient, and now this file as well. And I mean, these pieces for white aren't really playing in the game, so maybe that's the issue. But I mean, I'd still be looking at this and thinking, if I can play d5 in this position, this is going down the board really, really fast. And
bishop d6.
Bishop d6. That's interesting, actually. Yeah, the cat's come back onto the screen.
Thank you for that, baby. Thank you.
What's the cat's name? Just out of interest. He's joining the team.
This one's Baby. Short for Baby Yoda, because she's got very enormous ears. There you go.
We should get him back on tomorrow. I think he should definitely come back and visit us. But from bishop d6, I mean, I like this move a lot. And that stops a lot. I mean, this means the knight's hanging as well, so probably that's enough for black to hang on. And if I can, then you don't get anything. Then a3, a2, a1 is gonna come really, really fast. But I mean, I'm looking down, and we've got quite a few results that have come in. I'm just going to check in with this game. Look, very interesting. Black for choice or white? We've got even material by the looks of it, but if I take here, that looks quite good for white, actually. I'm thinking that after an exchange, he's going to take on f5, and this has all just been played. And I mean, probably about even, but I'd be feeling quite optimistic here as white somehow, with the bishop being planted, and then if I can get a rook into e6, I'd be feeling like that there might be something going on here. But interesting to see. And the engine says there's a bit of an edge. Also looking to swing the rook. I mean, I was thinking, obviously this square is covered by the bishop at the moment, but it wants to tie this rook to this backward pawn on a7, and that looks promising for black, I think, for white, sorry. So I'd be feeling pretty optimistic. I mean, there's no really clear way through it. There might be now. It's just I think if we have a look at this position, Black's just played the move rook to c7, and now that looks very trapped. So maybe looking like a victory here for White possibly, and then this is a top matchup. We've got to check in here. What's your first thoughts on this position with White? I mean, this is going to be a race, isn't it, with the king kind of coming over?
Can't the White king just catch the B pawn there?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm sort of thinking whether I've got enough time to sort of run my king with the pawn structure as it is at the moment. Once I get, if we imagine the king kind of comes this way, obviously these squares here are covered. So maybe there's no way through, and maybe White is...
I think White,
It's
or a
thinking that,
draw. Because, I mean, if White picks up the B pawn and then if Black positions themselves so White can't get around, because White can't get in on the F or G file either, so it looks a bit drawish.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be
unless Black loses a tempo and lets White in through the back door.
He's played with G5. Wow, that's
I don't believe in that. I don't think.
I don't, and we've got to say the engine doesn't either. But I mean, going back to your point about the opposition, it looks like White's king. I was thinking this earlier. White's king could be able to just kind of push the Black king out the way, and that looks like what's happening in this position. There's no way for White to hold the pawn, and we sort of do a little action replay here. Basically, White has the opposition in this position, and that means Black's forced out of the way. You get it again, and now can't defend this pawn, and that's probably going to be enough to get the victory. So looking pretty good here in this one. This was the position I think we had with this bishop on b3, and I was saying this looks pretty nice for White, and it looks like she's managed to make some progress here. Maybe g7 in this, and she's gone for it. So that I think just means that this king's going to be distracted, and you can resign here. You're gonna drop a piece. So
there's no threats.
Big victory for KCL in that one by the looks of it, and
again the lower rated players doing splendidly,
come out on top. I think Warwick have picked up a couple of victories in this. They picked up 2 on the bottom boards, and probably in this opposite collision game we had earlier, we can see that White's made a lot of progress here, and one of these pawns is probably going to be close to promoting. But that might be the last game that's on the board. We've got one here where White's up a piece, and that's looking pretty solid, I guess, with the A pawn pushing and then the rook coming up to b7. That's going to be pretty easy to convert. I can't imagine this H pawn's going to be coming into play too soon. So I mean, we're coming towards the end of the round by the looks of it. Are there any I'm trying to find that. Oh, this is a nice finish by Black, I've got to say.
Very pretty.
Back. This is very pretty. I don't think we've checked in with this game before. This sort of started life as a kind of Scheveningen Sicilian, and then Black has managed to, with this sort of fantastic bishop on the queen side, has managed to drum up some counterplay. You can see there's a knight potentially coming into h4, big advantage for Black, and then the final position is really nice one. If you take this way, that's gonna be checkmate, and then if you take here, the bishop's hanging. So Black's just up a piece and has a crushing attack, so that forced resignation there. And then should we head that game we were looking at, white managed to get through in this position with the king stuck in the corner, and you're gonna force it. So yeah, just heading down the results, it looks like Cambridge, I think they've done this before where we've had 3 draws and then a win a bit lower down, and they've managed to, that's been enough to clinch the match for them. Looking like a win for, what I've got to say, if we went over to the pairings over here, UCL, looking at these ratings, is looking very, very strong. And I know that's the team you'll be supporting, but yeah, I mean, they lost to Oxford in the last round, but looks like they've come back with a 4-0 victory in this one. So pretty impressive stuff there. And Oxford, this is the deciding game in Oxford against Imperial, which very, very close. Luckily, White has this A pawn still on the board, which means that you avoid getting to this rook and bishop against rook, which is kind of famously a draw and close. Have you ever had sort of a rook and bishop against rook in a game, or just looked at it in a textbook?
Thankfully, no. Yes, only ever textbook. I don't even like, the whole queen against rook end game. It's just because it feels like you should have so much more material. Everything should be great.
Yeah.
Actually, in practice, it's not that easy.
It is really, really hard. I think I had a couple of years ago, I had queen against rook, and it took me 48 moves to convert it. And my opponent was kind of checking the score sheet continuously and just missed it. And then, a couple of months ago, I had knight and bishop against king as well, which is another one of those. It's one that you sort of flick back and think, oh, I won't get that in a real game, and so I don't need to have a look at it. And then you do and wish that, you'd studied up a bit harder. But this one, I guess the difference is you've got this pawn on a5, and so that's looking pretty easy for white. You can imagine the bishop coming to b7, and then we're going to escort this pawn down the board, and white should be winning what I think will be a really kind of critical game in this matchup with Oxford. Going up. I think they've taken two. They're actually behind in this match, so they'll need a victory to tie with Imperial, but that'll definitely kind of shake up the standings a little bit. Should we head over back to the plate and see if we can get some of the results there? This is, I'm interested in what happened in this one with Connor. He managed to get the upper hand here. We were saying, going back to this position, that we thought, I think it was this one. Maybe this is a different round, but so black. This was the one that we had.
I don't think we saw the plate games, did we? This round? Yeah,
I think so. But this one still managed to.
I mean, this is where we wanted to put the knight on b5, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, but he sort of went slightly more passive with this knight on c2, and Connor is kind of angling for that plan that we were talking about before, with potentially something coming on the queen side, and then white has some action over here. But it's a tricky thing, isn't it? Because you like the knights, but if you give enough time, then those two bishops really start to have a really big impact on the game. You can switch between different sides, and I'm guessing that in this position, this pawn on c4 that we thought was
critical.
A weakness actually turned into a strength. This pawn became really isolated, and now that's going to be black used that to drum up some counterplay on the b file. And if we sort of flick around to the back end of this game, you can see that we've got even material, and potentially a draw looking at the engine, but this has got to be more comfortable for black, doesn't it, with this rook being tied down and
much more active.
And that eventually, I think we got some sort of Connor's doing a really nice job of kind of just shuffling around a little bit, trying to confuse his opponent, potentially looking at rook d3 as a kind of a little shadow threat here, and then after f4, that allowed the king, suddenly black was able to get the king in and trade rooks. And the pawn on f4 drops, and
Yeah, that's that.
That's enough to take the game. So nice technical conversion. We thought that White had a bit of an upper hand here. I do have to check in with this one as well. This is a kind of Sicilian, and Aaron, sort of the player with White, lives very, very close to me and has beaten me multiple times. So I'm always interested to see what he's doing. So White kind of, a bit of a not sure what to make of this one actually. What do you think? Do you like Black with this kind of coming in with B5 and Bishop B7, or it looks really double-edged to me?
I'd rather have Black here, I think.
Yeah, I would as well. I'm sort of surprised that, potentially, if you give me some time, F4, F5 is gonna create some threats, and I'm guessing that that's what we saw in the game. But yeah, I love this move H5 as well, just kind of trying to potentially create some weaknesses down here and open up this king as well. And Black got some play, but it just kind of swung around a bit, and White eventually managed to win this one after 5 was a bit of a blunder apparently. So
no, that's too much air.
That's too much. Yeah. So I'm wondering if we can take a look at the standings. That would be round 4, and we've got some results. Cambridge came out on top against Nottingham, which I think we saw. Try and see if we can get some results. I think Warwick won that match at the bottom, and then Oxford Imperial I think was a draw. Looking at it, we'll try and bring up the results for that one. So this is still the play. If I flick over. Yeah, so
apparently board 17 is where all the cool people are, according to the chat.
Board 17 is where the cool people are.
That's according to the chat.
What are they saying on the chat? Can we bring up? Have you got it there? Can you say what
it was the last screen you had up? Whatever that was. Somebody in the chat for the that section of the tournament.
Okay, I feel like we gave them quite a lot of board 17 in this round.
Yeah.
We've done our job there, and
I just thought it was a cute comment.
Yeah, people say weird things in the chat. Don't I wouldn't pay too much attention.
Don't look at it. Well, especially as a woman, don't ever look at Judith Polgar commentating. Don't ever look at her chat.
Yes, if you're in the chat, no misogyny or just weird stuff. Just chess, please. And so I think we covered this one, but just to kind of get some scores, it looks like Warwick had quite a good outing there. It looks like a 3-1 victory, and then Birmingham against Loughborough. That looks as if, I think Loughborough actually, they'd sort of lost this game with Ollie Howe went down. Oh, this looks like quite a lot of fun actually. We must take a look at. See, so this was, I'm guessing, an exchange French of some sort. And then White, this all looks pretty symmetrical, pretty equal by the looks of it. And then he went in for this move knight d4, which I've got to say I'd be quite nervous about from the black side. I'm guessing that g4 is gonna create some problems. And here after knight takes d5, you can see that black's actually managed to open up the position while his king is still in the center, which is a tricky one. And I played this move c6, and I'm wondering, there's a knockout blow here for white, but I'm wondering what it is. Am I just taking on e7 and then maybe going bishop g5? Do you think that's
check on f6 maybe? Swing the king in, swing the queen in.
I can take and probably here I'm gonna.
When the rook rearranges itself, you bring the dark squared bishop in, double the rooks. Is that anything?
That's interesting actually. I wonder if in this position maybe we can head with bishop g5. I'm tempted to kind of. So in the game he went for this and took on e7. I'm wondering what the score is with knight f6 actually. Knight f6 probably you're
Doesn't
going to
work.
weasel out as black is.
Yeah.
Be a bit more brave.
Yeah, you've got counterplay. Yeah. I was only thinking of white's chances, but black gets to make moves as well.
Yes,
Who
yeah.
knew?
Unfortunate, isn't it? But yeah, so and then white was able to bring these rooks into the middle, and it's really instructive that even though there's even material, the fact that white's castled and black just hasn't. He's only one move away, but that's it's enough to really cause some problems. And here, suddenly you're looking at the position and thinking, I'm dropping a piece here. This is quite nasty. A very nice little intermediate move from white. You can see that this bishop's hanging, and so instead of taking here and allowing this capture, which I mean that's probably still quite nice for white, flexing this with bishop d2, attacking the queen, and also hitting the bishop, and then white was able to pick up a piece here and nice 22 victory. But
I have
other
to
than
say, sorry. No, I love the French. I play the French a lot. And then as soon as you get the exchange variation, you just go, It's so tough, actually, to play the exchange, I think, as black.
It is. I mean, it's becoming a bit more sort of fashionable now. I think like the French at the moment has got such a good reputation as black. They're finding kind of new ways to put up resistance. But yeah, what against the sort of in the main lines? Are you a winnower person or a classical person?
I'm more classical.
You're a classical. I'm definitely.
Yeah. What about you?
I haven't played the French for ages. I used to play the thing where you go for the classical and then gets bishop g5. You play bishop b4 as black, and that used to get sort of very, very crazy quite quickly. But yeah, I'm definitely in for the classical. I don't like giving up the two bishops. Definitely not.
No. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, but in this one, it looks like Birmingham, sort of, despite winning on board one, probably came out on top. We've seen Warwick got that game as well, and then this match with Oxford and Imperial, I think looks like probably ending up as a draw with. I mean, we haven't got a result for this position, but I'd be surprised if this didn't end up as a win for white. So probably looking at Oxford, their winning streak being broken, which I mean potentially gives some space for someone else to come through. And then Cardiff, UCL, that's looking good for UCL. I think that's a 4-0 win in that one. And then Cambridge, we've had that result as well. That was a win for Cambridge. So I mean, the stronger teams probably putting some distance between them and the rest of the pack. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of looking at the standing that's kind of turning into a 3-horse race, I think, between Oxford, Cambridge, and UCL probably at this point have bought a pretty strong team actually this time. So yeah, I'm wondering, do you think it's time for us to jump off the stream and say goodbye to everyone? And we'll be back tomorrow. But everyone, hope you've enjoyed this first two rounds of BUCA, and someone else will be here and you'll see them tomorrow. But it'll be good. Goodbye from us.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Amanda. You've done a great job.
Are we still live, by the way?
1 second.